Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to take a look at FaZe's Olofmeister. Most people seem to realize that part of FaZe Clan's problem is that they have a few players that are pretty badly underperforming. Now, a common defense against that is that these players aren't set up for success, and they're setting up Nico to get kills. So I want to kind of make a video to discuss this topic a little bit more in depth, and I'm going to go through a demo here of Olof and show whether or not that's true. Now, a bit of a spoiler here. It's true and it's not. The thing is, Olof is clearly not set up to get kills. He's not being put into situations where he's likely to find kills in the majority of rounds. He's going to be playing B site here on Dust 2. A lot of teams like to focus more on long A nowadays, so he doesn't get a lot of action on the CT side. When he does, B site isn't a place where you get a ton of kills, so he's not really set up in a position to get kills there. He's the last rotate, so when they do take A, and North takes A quite often, he rotates into a bomb site that's the round's pretty much already over. However, when he does get into engagements, he's not necessarily winning them. So there's a bit of a back and forth there where most likely Olof is being put into these situations because when he's actually put into situations in which he could succeed a little bit more, he's having a little bit of trouble. So this is kind of how it works. You don't put someone like Nico, someone with crazy aim that's doing really well, into these kind of bitch roles. You put someone that might be performing a little bit worse. However, the fact that he's put into these roles will kind of to some extent emphasize how badly they're playing. So you're going to see here on this round, North is going to be making their way towards B. They're going to do a B split, and Olof does just about exactly what you could imagine or expect from someone. He's going to be able to pick up a kill, grab the AK, support Guardian to hold on to the site, and unfortunately the rest of his team has died elsewhere on the map, so they're going to be stuck in a 2v2, and Olof's really low HP. Now, it's actually going to make its way into a 1v1 here. So Olof's made his way through tunnel. Good read to realize AZ's in middle, and he gets the trade-off of Guardian there, and now he's got 9 health. Now, obviously, this is an incredibly hard round to win, 9 health against 100, but he does have the AK, and he is going to get a solid peek off here. He's just not going to be able to land the shot, and you're going to notice that a few times in this game. He can't quite land the shot, even if the plays are good. And sometimes he has plays that are a little bit questionable, probably based off the fact that he's a little bit nervous since he can't really win all these aim duels that I'm sure he's used to being a winner in. So skipping to the next gun round, you're going to notice a pretty common theme. Early on, they're going to be North is going to be heading towards B more often. And later on, they actually head over to A. Because Olof and Guardian actually hold on to the B site pretty well. They get their fair share of kills, and the A side is actually the side that's a lot weaker there. So you got to question that a little bit, but Olof very often is going to rotate into an already taken A bomb site. Here he's rotating into a 3v4, and this is kind of one of the more reasonable rotates he makes his way into. And he's actually going to go over to Cat here. So there's nothing that's kind of set him up for failure here. Even though he played B bomb site, he's going to be the rotator. He's going to make his way over to mid, and he's going to be able to find an engagement and win it. And early on in the half, Olof's winning a lot of these engagements. Now, there you could question him kind of sitting back on the corner, but he doesn't necessarily lose a gunfight. He gets one, which is really all you can expect. He gets kind of trapped because he gets mollied off. But that's the type of situation you're going to see happen fairly often with a lot of players. Now, Nico might have wide swung and picked up the second, but again, I think he's playing a little bit more nervous, a little bit more scared, because Olof is in a situation where he isn't winning every gunfight, so he's not overtaking them. And I think he might, this is the type of thing where players get into their own heads by playing a little bit too passive because they just can't see themselves winning gunfights anymore. So here's the one round he's going to be playing towards A. Rain grabs the kill off of a flash from Nico, so Olof was set up for success there and the previous round. And if you notice the scoreboard, he's actually doing, better than his team average here because he has been set up for success, and the frags or the people that he's run into, he's landed nice shots on. He's going to take down KRB there. Again, that's a straight up aim duel where he's actually at a disadvantage and he just wins it. So he's not doing too bad here. It's actually later in the half that he starts to have some problems. Moving on, I'm just going to watch the majority of the beginning of this half because it actually does show Olaf playing quite well. North makes their way towards B quite often, and Olaf generally does his job. So here he's kind of quick peeking for Rain, so not necessarily set up to find the frags there. If a mid-B split came out, he'd be taking a couple of shots, Rain would be finding the kills, and he might actually be a little bit injured. So again, not necessarily set up for success. Here he's going to be window, he's going to find, he's going to do exactly his job. So Rain's outside B, Olaf stopped baiting for him, but Rain managed to find the couple kills, and Olaf supported from window. So again, not set up to find, a multi-frag round, just set up in the smart angle to pick off the, easy kills. And this round's going to end, pretty easily there as well. So North is kind of getting shut down to some extent at B, which is obviously Olaf and Guardian's kind of bomb site. So the fact that he's holding on to that is obviously means something. He's not doing too bad. So again, North is going to go for cat control. Olaf's playing B, so he gets absolutely no pressure until they head back over to B. And this is the first round where you're going to notice Olaf kind of doing, not necessarily doing what you would hope. So they do have 3B, and they are going to be able to hold on to it. The only problem is, Olaf is probably set up in his position where he could find more success than he does. He finds the first kill, and then he drops his whole clip into the smoke. Guardian's there with an op, but Guardian's not in an angle to actually support that, and he doesn't find more than one. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily a huge misplay, but that is a situation where Olaf was set up to potentially find, maybe 2 or 3 kills, but only found one in that situation. So next up, North just goes towards A, and this is the type of situation you're going to see a lot. But Olaf does find another kind of whiff here. Gade's in the smoke. Olaf comes around, peeks right into him, and can't find the kill. That's one of those, that's a yikes. He didn't whiff a whole spray or anything, but it's the type of thing that happens, and potentially, if he was more confident, he might just spray him through the smoke there, grab the free kill. But, everyone's going to get hit with the CZ headshot once in a while, so you can't really put that too much onto Olaf. And, so far, given that North is headed, pretty significantly towards the B bomb site, Olaf has been doing just fine. He's been finding a kill or two. They've been holding on to the bomb site, and everything's been going well for them. When they start going A is when, you would say Olaf isn't set up for success, or at least statistically success, because they're going to take the bomb site several times. Olaf's going to rotate into an already basically lost round. And that's the type of situation where you're not going to find a lot of kills. So here, the round's essentially already over. They should, they have an idea that he's probably coming up elevator, and Nico's on 10 health. So Olaf's going to try and make a play. Cadian's looking right at him. No misplay there, and he's just going to go down. So I'd say this half, there was one misplay towards elevator. There was the kind of somewhat whiffed shot on the player towards A plat. But outside of those 2 rounds, I think Olaf has done exactly what you would expect, and probably not much more than someone that's in a better career form would be doing. So continuing on here, Olaf, he got his kills near the beginning of the half. By the time of, round 6 or 7, he got most of those kills, and he hasn't really been in a situation to find any more kills recently. If they've gone A, they've either taken the site and he's been in a bad situation, or, his team has held it. So this is the type of situation people think about here when they think about someone that's not being set up to get frags. Olaf goes towards elevator, he boosts 2 teammates, Nico and Rain are going to go for picks towards middle, and Olaf is just playing safety here. If they come out mid, he'll be able to find something potentially, but he's playing a back angle, which means he's more likely to get traded on, he's more likely to get flashed off, and his teammates are more likely to get frags here, and he's more likely to either kind of adopt or inherit a round that's already lost if both his teammates on cat die, or he's not going to find any kills, or maybe maximum 1 kill if things go better in the round, and he's not going to find anything here. So this is more what people think about when they're talking about someone that's not being set up for success, and this is true, but again, he's already lost some gunfights in this game. Is he the guy that you want to be boosting on cat? Probably not. So that's why I talk about it's probably escalated how bad his stats look because he is playing the kind of bitch roles. He's doing the stuff that's not likely to get him frags, but there's a reason for it. So the following round again, Olaf is holding B normally. His opponents make their way up cat, bombs planted 5e5, and he's going to make his way up elevator. Elevator's obviously not a super comfortable spot to make your way up, so you're not super happy about it. You'd much rather they run into your bomb site at the beginning of the round. But again, he's not going to hit the shots that you might expect an older Olaf to do. He misses Cadian a couple times. He could have found that frag, and he's going to be able to find a kill on the round here. He takes down AZ, but then he pulls out his pistol in the open, ends up getting punished for it, and unfortunately, they probably would have won that round if Olaf had found the original frag there on Cadian. So that's one of those situations. Again, he's rotating into a bomb site that he wasn't necessarily holding. Retakes are obviously harder than holding the bomb site. He does find a kill there. He's not whiffing all his shots, but he's not playing like old Olaf would. Hitting that shot on Cadian would have been very important for them to actually be able to win the round. So again, not necessarily set up for success. Neither was the rest of his team. He's not put into any worse of a situation than anyone else, and he's not able to find quite what you want out of it. So T-side pistol is going to be a round that if you were looking for kind of something to support your claim that he is put into bad roles and Nico's put into good roles, this is the type of round you would look at. So Olaf's got armor here, and they're going to be making their way up cat, and Nico's essentially going to be baiting towards long, and he's going to get kills off of it. Olaf's going to be one of the first people out with not a lot of nade support, so this is the type of situation where you could easily get murked. Obviously, Rain gets killed. Olaf is running past uncomfortable angles where he's unlikely to find kills. He's likely to get killed in this situation. And when he does spot a player, he finds the dink, but he wide swings and gets punished for it. So this is the type of situation where early on in the round, Olaf was clearly not necessarily set up for success. He's put into a role where he's likely to die. He's entering out along a very long angle, and Nico is putting himself, as I assume as the strat caller, in the role to find the kills. He's doing the lurk, he's doing the bait where they're looking towards a plat, he comes out long, gets the free kill. So that's what you would expect to happen very often if you are supporting the idea that Olaf is playing bad because he's put into the roles that won't really find very many kills. So the next round is another good example of it. So what's going to happen is Nico's got a spawn for long, and he's got the AK, and he's going to go for the peek, not able to find it. He goes very aggressive there, potentially because he's Nico and he feels like he has to carry. But Olaf threw the flash for him, and all he has is a CZ. He's not going to be able to grab the AK, and when they go back to A, he's not going to get a gun either. So it's one of those rounds where Olaf set someone else to find a pick, so he's not going to grab a frag off of that. He'd just find a flash assist. Later on in the round, he's going to plant the bomb, which again is risky because you can die while you're planting. Obviously, it means you have to be in the bomb site, and you're easily tracked because they know that you planted the bomb at some point. It is the bitch roll that kind of does get you killed somewhat often, and he's not going to be able to find any kills here on a winning round. So again, this is the type of round where you look at it and you say, you know, this is someone that's not really set up to find kills. He didn't play bad at any point. He didn't misplay anything. He played the round just fine, but he was never in a position to actually find any kills, and that's going to be reflected in his scoreline to some extent. You know, he played B somewhat often, so we didn't really see too many people on CT side, and now twice on T side, he's kind of been that guy that's been in a position where he could easily get killed. Now, pistol round, he actually did find a situation where he could have found a kill for himself, and he kind of, I wouldn't say he messed it up too hard, as he did find the dink, but it didn't go his way, unfortunately. So this round is actually more of the same. It's going to happen very similarly. So he's going to go for the peek towards B. Not a super fan of that peek, but it's probably part of the strategy. Finds the information that they're buying. And he's going to end up getting baited out mid here. So they go down 4v5. And what this is essentially a bait. Olofmeister is going to be the first through the door. No utility used. Nico's going to be behind him for the trade. So this is, again, textbook example of Olofmeister not being put in a position to have success. His teammate is behind him indoors. Olaf's walking out with no nade usage. Someone could be at any different corner. He has to clear them all, and Nico is going to be the one to pick up the frag there. So again, this is supporting towards the idea that Olaf isn't really put into situations to find success because he was essentially baited out middle there, and easily could have died without finding a single kill. Now they're going to make their way up A here. Again, he's first man through, which means he's most likely to die. And he doesn't whiff a shot there or anything. AZ has a decent peek on him, and he's just going to get taken down. So nothing he really did wrong there. He didn't whiff a shot or anything, and he was not really put in the best situation to find success. Nico baited him towards doors, and when they went up A, he was first man out. So this round FaZe is going for a force buy here. They've got AK on Nico, Scout on Guardian, and another AK on Rain. And something very similar is going to happen. So this is 4 rounds in a T-half now, and you can see he's again getting somewhat baited out mid-doors. Maybe he could have waited for Rain. I'm not sure if this is necessarily the strat to be this split, because Olaf won't get instantly traded here when he dies. But again, he's the first man out. He's clearing a ton of corners. He's not set up to find kills, you know, partially because he has a CZ and not an AK, and partially because he's the first man out in this type of push. So not really set up for success in that one. So now we're finally back on a round where Olaf has a gun, and it looks like FaZe is going to do some semblance of a default. They go fast towards middle here with 2, and Olaf is, again, put into what you might term as the bitch roll. Nico made his way out middle very quickly, and Olaf's just going to hold tunnels essentially the whole round. His team's going to make the work. They're going to find the kills, and they're essentially going to secure the round towards A without him seeing anybody until this mid-cross there. And he's going to be able to secure that kill. Round's essentially over, and he's going to run into AZ here in tunnels in a second and find that kill as well. You can see based on the duels that it doesn't seem like his aim is in peak Olofmeister form. But again, you're not exactly set up to have an impressive round there if you're holding the tunnels push for the entirety of the round. And again, he's going to be holding the tunnels push again, and his team's going to find the kills towards long. So 23 rounds in, and you know, you've probably got 8 to 10 rounds now where Olaf really hasn't been set up for success, and he really hasn't been in positions to really find a kill or find more than just a trade if he was to find one kill. And this is going to be one of the few rounds where Olaf is to some extent set up for success. They're going to be heading towards B here. Nico is going to end up being the first contact. Rain and Olaf will swing and manage to get the trade here. Rain's going to find the kill, but Olaf, you know, would have found it if Rain hadn't found it. And then they're going to move out, and he's going to be the second man out here. So the first man is, as I've mentioned, kind of the sacrificial lamb. He's going to get the information, and Olaf's going to be right behind him. And he's not going to be able to find it. Now, that is a bit of a whiff on his part. He had the shot on AZ. AZ was in a position where Olaf definitely could have found the kill. You could somewhat question the spacing to some extent, because AZ just got the quick spray down, so he was already shooting at Olaf, but still Olaf probably would hope to find that kill the majority of the time. And, you know, maybe if it was Nico, he might have found that one, just to put it that way. So following round, we have Olaf with the long spawn. So I wouldn't say this is because, you know, they're intentionally putting him in this role, but this is the way the cookie crumbles. He's going to flash out long, and he's going to be the first man out. The guys behind him are waiting a little bit, essentially playing off of him. He's kind of, again, being the bait. Not that there's anything wrong with that, nor in the rounds prior where Rain and Nico kind of baited him towards double doors. That's a valid tactic to try and get something done when, you know, someone has to walk out first. Someone has to be that guy. So even though he was kind of the sacrificial lamb, first out, ran straight out, pushed straight up, there was a smoke to help him out there. It wasn't completely YOLO, and he didn't end up dying off of it. And now he's not going to be the first out here. He's going to be third as they start to cross, and he's just going to get domed through the smoke. So not much you can really do about that one. Nico somehow survived there and made his way onto site, but you can't really blame Olaf for getting killed like that. So final round here, Olaf is going to go out towards long. He's not the first one out this time, so he is in a position where if they contest in long, he might find something. Not going to find anything towards long, as North is going to give it up. And FaZe is again going to go for the long push here. It didn't work the last time. They're going to try and make it work this time. And this is a round where I would say Olofmeister is to some extent set up for success, not intentionally, but to some extent unintentionally. And you're going to see maybe an example of why he isn't the guy that's, baiting out middle. They're going to get plat control. They're going to plant the bomb safely there, so it's not planted for cat. And Olof's just going to get caught in the middle of the open here, and just end up getting taken down. So did he whiff there? No, he didn't whiff. He didn't, lose an opening duel too badly. They were getting collapsed on from long and cat, and he can't necessarily play quad because his teammates already quad. So he's not set up for failure. He's not being the bait. He's not throwing the nades, and his teammates are executing off of them. But he ends up in a position where he could potentially get some kills, and he doesn't. Potentially, old Olaf, if you guys remember from 2015, I feel like that Olaf would have played that a little bit differently, might have played it more aggressively, might have been more confident in winning the aim duels, especially against a team like North, who, in theory, doesn't have the firepower of a team like FaZe. So I feel like Olaf has been kind of beaten down to some extent, where he's not confident in his gameplay anymore. He's not confident in his aim like he was in 2015, taking those aim duels. And he's also not really set up to find a lot of kills. But I think you can use this game as an example. When he was set up to find kills and when he was in positions to take straight up gun duels, he was losing them an alarming percentage of the time. So you can see a reason for him not to be set up for success, because if he was set up for success, he might not be succeeding to the extent that you would hope that someone set up for success would succeed, like someone like Nico might, or if Rain was in really good form, he might. People like that are the ones that you would set up for success in these situations where someone is kind of losing the aim duels. And you can see he's losing the confidence to some extent because he's not taking the plays that he might otherwise. And, if he was playing a little bit more confident, maybe things would be going a bit differently. So hopefully this kind of sheds some light on the idea, is it because he's not set up to find frags, or is it because he's playing really bad? Well, unfortunately, you can't have one without the other. If he was playing really well, it would be noticeable. You would see him win the aim duels, and then you might be thinking to yourself, I wish they set him up to find more frags. But he's not really playing too great. He's not succeeding when he's given opportunities, necessarily, and that's why he's in these situations. Now, did he play like a 9 and 18 player? Not too much. If he was put in a different spot on CT side, if they went B more, he probably would have more than 9 frags. I don't think he was anchoring too hard on this T side, but he could have found a couple more. He could have gotten, 14 kills in this game. If he won the aim duel set, he potentially could have won. If he was in slightly better positioning, he could potentially have been, 4 or 5 kills up, and that would have been a good game, given the opportunities that Olaf was presented with. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.